Jonathan, we are seeing conditions deteriorate. I wanted to give you a wipe off there because the rain is covering our lens. Just take a look. We are here on the Cape Fear River in downtown Wilmington. As you can see, there's a lot of chop on this river. One thing that they are keeping an eye on is the storm surge. There are only 12 people who did not leave and decided to stay as she comes ashore. But just take a look. Look at that gust. The challenge is finding gas, but that's if you can get out of your home. Take a look here. One street blocked with trees and power lines, and you turn and you get pretty much the same. Law enforcement saying just stay away from the search for right now. But one thing we have found, this coffee shop telling people how they can take part. Just down this little roadway here behind me, through this gate that's preventing us from going any further, you can see this is the area where they found little Maddox's body. And here at the last spot before you drive into Rankin Lake Park, a growing memorial. But much of it, as you can see here, is at a standstill. I'm going to step out of the way so that you can see this is a very active scene that stretches up the block. Well, Claudine, from this plaque on a pillar outside of the entrance gates to the scoreboard just across the field there, the UNC Board of Trustees deciding today that Jerry Richardson's name will stay. As you know, this missing child search has touched the hearts and minds of people across the country. Here locally, people have been asking us all week, what can we do to help? And law enforcement saying just stay away from the search for right now. But one thing we have found, this coffee shop telling people how they can take part by lifting their prayers every day to hashtag Find Maddox. Others seeming to regret the decision to let his 6-year-old autistic son who doesn't speak have a little freedom during a weekend outing.
It's torture. I just want my little boy back home.
His son Maddox missing 5 days now. Ian Rich spoke out Wednesday about the massive effort to find him.
Everyone out there searching, I appreciate everything you're doing.
He says last Saturday was he and Maddox's first time ever visiting Gastonia's Rankin Lake Park. They were joined by an unidentified woman investigators still have little to say anything about.
Once he started off a little bit, we just stayed back walking, and I could see him and main line of sight, no problem.
But then Ian says Maddox took off in a sprint, getting about 30 feet ahead.
He likes running. I couldn't catch up with him. I feel guilt for letting him get so far ahead of me before I started running after him.
At this point, the FBI and Gastonia police not questioning that explanation.
We feel very confident that a lot of the information that they provided to us is accurate, and it's helped us.
But officials still needing help from people at the park last Saturday, especially those jogging. Of the hundreds there, only a few have come forward.
We really want to get 100% accounting for the people who were at the park that entire day.
An intensive search with more than 300 involved. Gastonia Police Chief Robert Helton says there are no plans yet to scale this back.
You know, I'm not ready to say when yet. I want us to keep searching. I want us to keep doing everything that we can to find this child.
And so one of the people they are really looking to get in touch with that was at the park, they believe, last Saturday was a man that was driving a white pickup truck, and he may have also had on a camouflage hat. They said at the time that this all happened, he may have been loading a canoe onto his truck. Anyone who was at the park and may know anything about what may have happened to little Maddox Rich is asked to call the tip line. That number is 704-869-1075. Again, 704-869-1075. Live in downtown Gastonia tonight, Jonathan Lowe, Spectrum News. This here behind me is the main drag through Wrightsville Beach, where you find most of the bars, the restaurants, and shops. There are also a number of homes along North Lumina Avenue, and just on the other side is the beach, where Hurricane Florence is expected to come ashore as a devastating hurricane. Now, many of the businesses here and the homes have already boarded up, shut down, people are gone, with the exception of a few.
This is last night. We had a bunch of inventory we have to get rid of because we don't want to haul it somewhere else. So we're pretty much liquidating everything, have a band, last party for a long time.
Now, Jimmy Galeese owns Jimmy's Wrightsville Beach, one of the bars here on Lumina Avenue. It's been here for 44 years, and in the 4 years Jimmy has owned it, he says they have never closed until now. With Hurricane Florence approaching, he had a crew helping him tonight to get important equipment like compressors off the ground. They were also boarding up windows and caulking cracks in hopes of keeping the water out. We also saw them filling up sandbags. Despite that, he is expecting 3 to 4 feet of water to get inside, leaving behind, he said, at least 2 feet of sand inside the bar.
Oh, I've been through a bunch of hurricanes, and nothing has me scared like this. I'm always a bit on edge over hurricanes, but this one's just as slow as it is, as strong as it is, and we're due for a big one. It keeps me up at night. It's really awful.
Yeah, that's pretty much the sentiment of the people that have been here for a long time. They're really genuinely concerned about this particular storm. Now, Jimmy says he has a team on standby ready to immediately step in and help him with any repairs and cleanup as soon as he gets the all clear from officials that it is safe to return here to Wrightsville Beach. But Wrightsville Beach, come tomorrow morning, will join Carolina and Cura Beach in being under a mandatory state-ordered evacuation, which is something that has never, ever happened in the state's history. We're live at Wrightsville Beach tonight. Jonathan Lowe, Spectrum News. As we were here reporting on how deserted this popular Wilmington shopping center has gotten, the only person to ride through, a man on a bike attached to a canoe. And in that canoe, all of his belongings. The human will to survive, combined with creative ingenuity. If there's flooding, conceivably you'll still be able to get around.
Yeah, you know, that was like the kind of the hope.
Ahead of Hurricane Florence, Calvin Daughtry was pedaling for higher ground, pulling a long load behind him.
I hooked up the canoe to a cart.
He fit as much as he could inside that canoe.
My clothes, my bike, and various, school stuff.
It was a real effort to preserve as much of his property as he could.
Yeah, I live right by Johnny Murphy's Pier, and right now on the National Hurricane Center, that's a 6 feet storm surge above ground.
He's predicting his Wrightsville Beach home won't be there after the storm passes.
If it actually is a storm surge of like 6 foot, like my entire floor is underwater.
At the moment, this boating vessel serving as storage, but Calvin is planning to use it for its intended purpose once it's safe to return to the island.
I don't want to get electrocuted. Maybe I could make it back to the island and kind of bypass the bridge, see if I can't get in the water in the Intracoastal. Because if I can get in the Intracoastal, I can get back to the house.
At Wrightsville Beach, Jonathan Lowe, Spectrum News.
Just a lot of broken glass.
Some vehicles looking as if the owner doesn't yet know the window is in pieces on the ground. Other windows temporarily protected with plastic.
That was like your other cars have been vandalized and your windows are broken too.
Jacob Robinson and several of his Church Street neighbors in Belmont,
At least 15.
were startled from bed by officers early Friday morning.
The cops banging on the front door.
She came out to the same scene. Her boyfriend's very first car had been hit.
This is only way around.
Belmont police have charged a pair of teens for using a BB gun overnight to shoot at least 60 vehicles across Belmont, Gaston County, and Mooresville in Iredell County. 18-year-old Duncan Hopkins and Nigel Baker, whose 19th birthday was also the day of this alleged crime spree.
So I guess it was his birthday thing to do.
Robinson says about a year ago, vehicles here were vandalized nearly the same way, but that time, only one of his grandmother's windows were shattered.
It was like $1,000, replaced one window.
Victims left bearing the brunt of a serious stunt. And once again, sweeping up the damage.
What's the point? You're gonna get caught probably, and you're gonna get charged.
Belmont police are still looking for victims. If you think your vehicle might have been damaged during those teens' vandalism spree, you're asked to give them a call. In Belmont, Jonathan Lowe, Spectrum News.